Good evening, hello and welcome. You're watching the Super Saturday debate with me, Anusha Soni. The hijab debate that dominated the discourse, not just in the state of Karnataka but in national politics, seemed to be back and dominating the headlines yet again. There's a statement from Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah that there were certain requests that were made to him and he's considering or reconsidering the ban that was earlier put on hijab. The State Education Department, through a circular, had banned the head covering or any kind of religious symbols in education institutions. What followed after that is a history well known. There was an intense legal battle at the High Court that reached right up to the Supreme Court, where there was a split verdict, which means that the earlier order of the BJP-ruled government in the state of Karnataka, the erstwhile government, stays as law, which means that present hijab is banned in educational institutions if the school decides so. With this statement of the Chief Minister that they are reconsidering or they will rethink on the ban which has been put, once again the political narrative has yet again started off development versus appeasement politics. Yet again we countenance the narrative where it's about a right of an individual, of a woman to cover her head versus the secular principles of any educational institutions or state-run institution. Amidst all of this, there's politics as well happening between the BJP and Congress. We'll pose all these different questions to our guest also joining us in just a bit, but this is our top focus. Hijab politics back in the focus.
ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ಒಬ್ಬರು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಕೇಳಿದ ಮೇಲೆ ನಾವು ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಅದನ್ನ ವಾಪಸ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು.
BJP has no work to do. I think they should look in setting their house in order first.
ಕೇವಲ ಅಲ್ಪಸಂಖ್ಯಾತರನ್ನು ತೃಪ್ತಿಪಡಿಸೋಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಈ ತೀರ್ಮಾನ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಯಾವ ಮುಸ್ಲಿಂ ಮುಖಂಡರು ಸಿದ್ದರಾಮಯ್ಯನವ್ರನ್ನ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರು ಹಿಜಾಬ್ ರದ್ದು ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತೇಳಿ. ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ರಾಜಕೀಯ ಬೆಂಬಲವನ್ನು ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳು ಬಿಡಬೇಕು. ಈ ರೀತಿ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಅಲ್ಪಸಂಖ್ಯಾತರನ್ನು ತೃಪ್ತಿಪಡಿಸೋಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ. ನಾಳೆ ಲೋಕಸಭಾ ಚುನಾವಣೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಜನ ತಕ್ಕ ಪಾಠವನ್ನು ಕಲಿಸ್ತಾರೆ.
Well, let's take this question to our guest. Is this really necessary for a state government to do? What are the compulsions which are driving the state government? Is it about religious freedom or this is appeasement politics as the BJP argues? Joining us on the broadcast is Prashant GS. He's a spokesperson of the BJP. Professor Gita B, who's an academician. Brinda Adige, who's a women activist, will also join us in just a bit. And Tausif Ahmed Khan, who's a lawyer, is also joining us on the broadcast. We'll have all these guests joining us and we'll get their perspective as well. Coming to you, Mr. Prashant GS, I want you to open the debate for us. The state government, the Congress party, even when this entire debate was going on, was clearly of the opinion that this particular order of the erstwhile BJP government in the state of Karnataka is not correct. They had opposed this order. This was the official position also in some ways that was taken by the Congress party, though they then refused to speak on the matter because it became sub judice. The fact that the Chief Minister wants to reconsider that order is not surprising at all, or is it, sir?
Definitely not. See, anything that anybody does to empower women, Congress stops it. It is always on record. And now it is very clear from the actions of Siddaramaiah that to hide the government's failure on governance, he is raking this issue up. There was no appeal by anybody to say to Siddaramaiah to say bring back this or we want hijab. He has suo moto issued a statement saying that I would ban hijab or the order which BJP had given in the past, which Congress challenged, and the matter went into High Court. High Court said that hijab is not an essential practice of in Islam, and then the matter is pending before Supreme Court now. When the matter is sub judice, only to hide the government's failure. And you take what Siddaramaiah did 2 days ago. He went to New Delhi for meeting the central ministers for drought relief. Then how did he come back? In a luxury jet owned by his minister. To cover up those issues, they are resorting to this political bickering. Otherwise, Congress has never stood for empowerment of women, especially Muslim women. You look at what happened with Shah Bano during Rajiv Gandhi's regime. And this is the same government, Congress government, at all levels, different state governments and national level, which is opposed triple talaq. So where do they talk about empowering women, more so Muslim women, when all the regressive measures such as triple talaq, Congress has backed it.
But
So therefore,
Prashantji, one of the argument earlier was, and I remember this debate, I've tracked this as a court reporter, that this entire necessary issue was not rigged up by the Congress party, it was rigged up by the BJP. You made it an issue in the state of Karnataka only to polarize the debate. Similar arguments have been made. And so talking about the empowerment of women, there is a certain section, I don't necessarily agree with it, there's a certain section that argues that women should be allowed to decide what they want to wear and how they want to cover themselves. No government should be telling them the manner of dressing which is acceptable. Mr. Prashant.
absolutely, I'm completely with that statement. We are nobody to tell women how they should dress and what they should do. But the issue here is you can't pollute children's minds in the school to say we are different. Why do you have uniforms in schools? There should not be a distinction between haves and have-nots in schools. Similarly, religion cannot play a part when children are being brought about, so that you can't polarize the young minds.
Okay.
But look at the generation of tomorrow, which is why this hijab is not banned in workplaces or different places if the employer or the company policy cites so. But how can you do that in a school?
Okay,
Can we
okay, you've made your point, and let me bring in other guests also into the discussion. Mr. Tausif Ahmed Khan, these are well-known arguments that have been made even earlier. That this is a state-run institution. It's a democracy. You are free to decide how you want to dress. It's a choice that women make. But when it comes to a state-run educational institution, there's a uniform, there's a code, and that should be followed.
You see, the governments we elect in democracy, we elect government to make people's life easy and not to make people's life hard. You see, the Pew Research Center survey, it was conducted in 2019 and 20, and what does it say? It said that majority of women, they wear head coverings, and at least 89% of them are Muslim, 86% of them are Sikh women, and about 61% are Hindu. So this is the figure that we are talking about. When we put a hijab ban, we are essentially, disenabling these women from participating in,
Mr. Tausif.
in religion.
Prashantji, I'll come to you. Let Tausif Ahmed Khan make his argument. I'll come back to you. Yes, Tausif Ahmed Khan.
Yes. So we as a government, I mean, if suppose I am a part of the government elected by the people, my duty is to enable the people to do whatever they want to do, and at the same time have the freedom of choice to wear whatever they want to wear. When I am putting a ban, I'm essentially taking that power away from them. I am disempowering them. That no, if you want to come to an institution, if you want to sit in the exam, you cannot wear a cloth, you cannot wear a head covering of your choice. You would be barred if you are given a freedom to wear the head covering. You would be barred from participating in an examination or participating or entering from college.
Okay.
So this is a very negative approach that BJP had taken, and Congress has done the very right thing by reversing it.
No, I believe there's still official procedure that needs to be followed, and we have had a statement coming in from the Congress party saying that they're going to consider it. I want to cut across to Professor Gita Bhatt as well. Professor Bhatt, I find it also appalling, and I'm talking as a woman right now, that whenever it's any kind of head covering, say a ghungat or any kind of parda system which is followed, it's out and out regressive. I, as an educated woman, who has gone out, educated, knows her religion very well, would not say that this is something which is authorized by the religion and protected in the name of freedom of expression. Parda is a regressive system. It must be done away with. It's part of women's emancipation. However, when it comes to Muslim personal law, the entire argument of covering your head is also in some way co-joined with the argument of self-determination. Let women decide for themselves. Is that convoluted, misplaced?
Well, you see, if we look at it, sometimes it's like a catch-22 situation. But we do, Anushaji, have to realize that there are a large number of institutions which are actually Muslim institutions that have come out and made it very clear that that they would not like to have women covering their face in any way in their institutions, educational institutions. And I would like to give the example of Muslim Education Society in Kerala, which has more than 150 institutions, schools, colleges, etc. Not only in Bharat but also in the Middle East, with on nearly thousands of students. They in 2019 have barred the covering of face in their institutions, and their president very categorically said that there is a orthodox element in the society that is trying to portray that that this is forcing women not to cover their faces, but it has nothing to do with Islam, very categorically. So the point here is that first of all, the impression that is being given is that the previous government had actually, in a way, it had banned wearing of hijab across the state, which is not so. It is very it should be very clear that it was regarding the educational institutions, and I think, Anushaji, it is very clear that the autonomy of an educational institution will proceed over an individual's autonomy. And every citizen has a right. If you want to go to the parliament covering yourself from head to toe, you can do it. No one is going to stop you.
You can do that at the Supreme Court. You can do that at a government office.
Absolutely.
You can do it at a high court. You can do it at any institution.
So it is important that it is referring to the the educational institutions where it was decided that at these institutions, and in a way, as you had put it forth, that you see, it is important that if all the students, they are coming in a uniform and they are dressed up in a similar manner, it is also in terms because the students, they come from various sections of the society. They might not be having same kind of living standards. So it is important that school uniform is stressed upon, so that all of them, they feel that they are they are equal.
At the heart of this debate is also the issue that when it comes to religious symbols, Mr. Prashant, I'm coming back to you. When it comes to religious symbols and expression of religion in public, we are unlike the Democratic Republic of France. We are a very different country. We are religiously expressive country, where whichever religion you may belong to, you can wear a sign or a symbol and which religion you want to belong to, and you can go to your place of work. You can also go to your schools to a certain extent. When you ban hijab, you have also banned a certain form of religious expression at an educational institution, which is allowed for other communities. This is one argument, Prashantji, that we have heard in the past.
See, Congress and its allies have been making these arguments to say that, to showcase in a wrong way that they're championing the cause of Muslim women, but in effect what they're doing, they're taking them 10 steps backward. Because take the case of triple talaq, what happened with Muslim women? Once the judgment came and once the triple talaq was abolished, it was Muslim women who came out in large numbers and rejoiced. And now coming back to this hijab thing, take Saudi Arabia, what is known as the cradle of Islam. They are bringing out rules to say no covering, no hijab, and they want women to be free. You take places like Dubai and Qatar, you have women drivers there.
The same argument was with triple talaq also. That triple talaq also has been done in most of the Muslim nations.
Exactly.
Why should a country like India have it in the first place?
Exactly, which is why Congress has been doing this to portray itself as a party with taking support of Muslims only for vote bank things, but in effect does nothing for them. They've always opposed any welfare measures aimed at women, more so Muslim women. Here it is not a case of not letting an expression of somebody being taken into account or somebody being stopped from school. No. As Professor Bhatt has put it across, it is the distinction should never be made in a state-run institution with haves and have-nots. It is uniform.
The Chief Minister has said that he is going to discuss this at a top level and a proper decision will be taken.
Anusha, I repeat, it is only to divert people from the governance failure in Karnataka. Not a single kilometer of road has
So
been
the
laid for the
tables have
last 6
turned.
months.
When you were earlier imposing a hijab ban in Karnataka, the Congress was saying the same thing. That nevertheless happened. And I do believe that in today's day and age, it's the reality of this age that all these difficult issues need to be spoken about. Whether it's the hijab ban, the cultural debates, what kind of religious symbols need to be allowed. It's today's reality. So I'm going to address this issue head on. Mr. Tausif Ahmed Khan, why is it that certain practices which arguably are regressive, any kind of covering which is mandatory for women in any religion is regressive? I'm making that statement outright. Should we be protecting such practices in the name of self-determination or freedom of expression when Muslim nations, the cradle of Islam and its civilizations, are deciding that perhaps we need to do away with head covering? It doesn't sit with the ethos of 21st century.
See, first of all, it's a wrong notion and a lie that Saudi Arabia is the cradle of Islamic civilization or Islamic principles.
Okay.
So,
Now we don't get to that.
you see, we Muslims across the world. I mean, it's not Muslims are not only limited to Saudi Arabia.
Sure.
They the punishment there is at the level of for if anyone commits theft.
Yeah.
Their hands are chopped off.
Yeah.
We don't follow that here in India
Yeah.
and in most of the Islamic nation. So please do not compare Indian Muslims with Saudi Muslims. And this is something that BJP believes and wants to make this.
Point taken. Let's move on.
Secondly, you see the fact when you are enforcing something, when you are making it mandatory, that is where we are talking about. We are talking about the area where we make something mandatory. I am here asking you that ban on hijab. What is mandatory provision brought by the BJP? No one else is telling anyone to go. You cannot step out. If anyone says, I will not step out of the house because it is mandatory from the male, the member of the family who's forcing me not to step out. I mean, that is, taking away the empowerment of the woman. If the woman has a choice, if a woman has a choice,
Sir, do 50.
Mr.
Sir,
Tausif,
come on. Sir,
that
come
is
on.
not the
Sir,
issue.
no, one second.
education?
One second. Prashantji, 1 minute. Prashantji, 1 minute. Let's not speak over each other. Let's not speak over each other.
I am only concerned about taking away of the constitutional right of choice that a woman enjoys. And
Okay.
if you ban it, if you make it mandatory that you have to take it off, if you enter the educational institution, else you will not be allowed to take a sit for exam. That is, where the infringement of fundamental right comes into picture.
Tausif, let's talk about. No, I want you to. No, you haven't addressed my question. My question is something else. Sir, I have interacted with you on multiple debates, and I believe that you know your religion, you know the constitution of this country. And I speak from a point of view that you also understand that this is a changing world where women from different societies, religions have come forward and are in the process of emancipation of different kinds. Do you believe head covering in any religion for a woman is a sign of emancipation and self-determination? It's my genuine, honest question to you, Tausif ji.
You see, I keep no opinion on that. I believe. No. I am honestly telling you.
It's a Congress way of
I believe in
answering.
giving them the freedom. If a woman wants to cover her head, it's her choice. If does not want to cover her head, it's her choice. I respect that. I am
What about
against
uniform
anyone
civil code as
forcing
per
her.
the Constitution?
If a woman wants to cover her head, and
Sir,
BJP comes and
I
says you have
think
to give it
the
out, and I am
distortion,
against
Geeta
it.
ji, please come in on this. I think the distortion which is happening here is that the schools had only stopped wearing of hijab in the classrooms, inside the classrooms.
Right.
The moment you are on road, the moment you are an adult and you can decide, I want to go to college, I want to take a government job, I want to become a doctor, I want to become an astronaut, you are free to wear your hijab and you do what you want to do. Nobody has stopped that. But somewhere it became convoluted and people started saying that, look, they are being forced to take off their hijab. Yes, it's not a part of the government, curriculum or the school uniform, and that's why those orders were issued. In fact, the High Court, and that judgment stands after the split verdict of the Supreme Court, that hijab is not a part of the essential religious practices of Islam. Geeta ji.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. It is rather unfortunate that some political parties and, the so-called women rights organizations and some people from the civil society, they in the name of secularism, actually this is nothing but appeasement of the Muslim community. And unfortunately, it is important that when there are, especially in those years when, when you are, when a child is basically is coming out and is interacting with students from other communities within the same school, and there is integrating them with the mainstream. Largely there has been a question that why is it that from Muslim community, why there are people are not there, part of the mainstream. So if you want to come to be and become part of the mainstream, it is important that the children should go and study in institutions where which could be institutions which are government institutions from where all community students they are coming.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you also have to respect the guidelines which are being put forth by the educational institutions.
Okay.
We all do that. If there are, it is just like there are certain institutions where they would not like they do not they do not allow to take mobile phones also inside, but there are certain institutions where they do allow in schools also.
Yeah.
So, but those who are the part of the community, the parents, they have to respect what the guidelines have been given by the school.
No,
and I think that
it is not
Anusha,
just any.
Anusha,
last 1 minute to you, Prashantji, then I have to close the debate. Yes.
Yes. Look at the double standards of Congress. In the recently concluded for examinations, they made Hindu women remove Mangala Soot and the touring, which is a very, very essential part of Hindu marriage. When the courts have recognized that the marriage is complete when you take 7 steps and the Mangal Sutra Dharana. Congress government of the audacity to tell those women who were married and writing exams to remove that, saying security reasons and other things. What are they talking about women empowerment here? This is what they are doing. And Mr. Tausif, let him answer.
Sir, that's all the time that I have. I'm very sorry I'm interrupting you there. Prashantji, Geeta Bhatt and Mr. Tausif Ahmed Khan, thank you all for joining us on the show tonight. But I believe the central question is about the expression of your religion at government-run educational institution. At the heart of it is the question that any kind of head covering in the name of morality and joining that with the idea that this is somehow related to your self-determination of freedom, isn't that a convoluted argument? In this country, when it comes to parda or any other kind of veil, isn't that a battle that a woman has fought for decades, for centuries? Why should we associate hijab with any kind of women empowerment? I believe that lies at the heart of the debate. Official procedure awaited when the government is going to overturn that order. The Chief Minister has made a statement to that effect. This is likely to evoke much more controversy. It's a wrap on the solution. Thank you so much for watching.